Welcome to another episode of the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast, your source for actionable real-life examples and advice to help you move to the next level of investing. Each week, we help you make a quantum leap in your business, your finances, and/or your life. We want to help you take back control, help you thrive during chaos, and lead you through the current crisis to a better tomorrow. For more resources, check out smartrealestatecoach.com and be sure to give us a rating and review on your favorite platform.
So think about this. How do you build a business that's wildly successful at the same time you're providing yourself, your family, a lifestyle without one or the other sacrificing, without one or the other suffering? I want you to think about that. Good morning and welcome, Wicked Smart listeners. It's Chris Pre again, and I am your host, whether you like it or not today. I've got an awesome guest today because we search constantly. We literally have searched for a decade, constantly looking for the lifestyle side of things for our community, because we realize if it was just as easy as me teaching you how to do a single DL, a real estate deal, that'll be easy. I mean, you can go watch our 400 or 500 YouTube videos on our Deal Structure Sunday section of YouTube. Just type in Smart Real Estate Coach on YouTube and go to the Deal Structure Sundays. You'd have all the deals you could possibly review. You'd have the skill set, presumably, or you could just take our course and go run off and do hundreds of deals. So why is it different then? What differs from what I just said in real life? Well, in real life happens, right? Speed bumps come, mental blocks come. The mental side of this is super important. And so as you build your business, I want you to have access to the amazing people like Jason Wojo. Now, this is interesting. Jason went to school, as you're going to hear his story. I don't want to give too much of it away. And he went to school, and he went to school, and he went to school, and he became a scientist. And then he turned entrepreneur. This is the first time I've had someone on the podcast like this, even though I ran into the book the previous founder of this company wrote years ago. He owned and operated several successful businesses, and that gave him some good financial and time freedom to enjoy some life. He's coached and collaborated with some of the country's most successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and investors. And he's won the prestigious Icon Business of the Year award, guys, from Keep, formerly known as Infusionsoft. I'm very, very familiar with them as we have journeyed through their process as well with the founder, Brett Gilliland, who's also been on our podcast. So some really cool ties here. Jason is going to chat with us, as you'll hear unfold his story, some of the biggest mistakes he's made and stumbled upon so you don't make them. And most importantly, he's going to tell you how to get in touch with him, because you guys need to be rubbing elbows with Jason. And I promise you, I'm going to let that happen inside of our Wicked Smart community as well. So you're in for a treat. All right, Jason, that's a little background. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, dude, great to be here. Excited for the conversation.
Yeah, I have to dig into first. You told me right before I hit record that you're from Massachusetts. So how the heck did you leave? When and how and why did you leave this area? And give me a little backstory. Tell these guys who you are.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Webster, like Little Webster Lake. And so for grad school, I decided to come down to North Carolina, to go to Duke. And so that's kind of what drew me out of Massachusetts, man. Florida, too hot. California is too far. And so North Carolina was a good match, man. But I still got family up there.
On a side note, if we can help with real estate, you let us know. We're going to dig into more lifestyle stuff today, which I absolutely love. I love everything about what you do and what you've been through. So can you share kind of behind the green curtain, how'd you land here? Let's forget the geographic thing for a minute. How'd you land here career-wise? Give them a little kind of a sketch.
So, dude, real funny. So I was taught the key to a good life was having a good job. I had zero business owners in my family, zero entrepreneurs. That wasn't even a consideration for me going to school. And I remember a conversation with my dad, and he's like, hey, you can either go to college and get a higher paying job later, or you can go get a job now and just make less money. And I'm like, well, I guess I don't really want to work yet. And I feel like I'd rather learn some stuff and get paid more later. So I went to school, to college. I went to UMass for my undergrad. And then as I'm in undergrad, I'm realizing if I want a great life, I need a great education. So that simple bachelor's degree turned into 2 bachelors, a master's and a PhD, because I'm going to set myself up for a great life, and I'm going to have a great, great job. And And man, so I went to like 15 years of school, like literally, like this is like I can say it now without crying, right?
Unbelievable.
And so I get that first job, and I realize I don't want to work for somebody. Like I just the idea of handing over the handcuffs to my life and what I worked on and how much money I made and all that stuff. Like it just something felt very, very like unnerving about that. And so that's when I got into real estate. And so literally that first month after my first job after grad school, I realized, real estate could be the vehicle for me to get out of, and it's a great vehicle to get out of the job. And so the real estate quickly took off. I was really blessed with some early success, and I had a great mentor, and I was able to start hit the ground running. Except the problem that I had was that I quickly let like my business run my life, and now that business that was supposed to give me freedom and give me the choices and do all the fun stuff and have the great life ended up just enslaving me. And it's my own fault. I didn't listen to my mentor. I set up things wrong. My business relied on me. Like there's a lot of mistakes I made.
Yeah.
That I love sharing and helping people not make those mistakes. And so that's where like this whole Lifeonaire thing came. I actually began as a member back in 2009, and over a period of years ended up being a coach for them, speaking for them, and then running the company. And now I'm an owner as well. And so like, it's just been this completely unpredictable, like I never in a million years would have guessed I've been here. Cause dude, I thought I was gonna be a scientist. You know what I mean? Like I'm on a lab bench, like mixing chemicals, and here I am now in business. And it's just something that's been amazing, man. I couldn't imagine it any other way.
Okay, you see me scribbling, so I got a couple things in no particular order. One is you mentioned you had a great mentor in real estate. I guess I'm curious what type of real estate, just from my own brain here, first.
Yeah. So my first venture in real estate was rehabbing.
Okay.
And my first mentor like walked me through that process, and so I did some wholesaling based on projects that I couldn't take on with my team, and that evolved then into new construction, and now I do lending.
Nice. So that was my next question. So you focus in real estate, still dabbling, but it's lending only.
Yeah. So because the thing is, I realized like I enjoyed the real estate, but I enjoy now more of helping people avoid the mistakes that I made. And so that's what the Lifeonaire thing has kind of really become set front and center for me. So I still lend, but I'm no longer like boots on the ground running teams or running projects like that.
So do you I want to go to the Lifeonaire and the mistakes in particular. I circled that. My first question would be the mentor thing. I mean, do you still have mentors? I mean, you're in the business, so do you still have mentors yourself?
Absolutely. Dude, I don't think you can ever, like, I still think that's, a huge mistake where, when you think you've arrived, like that's when you've crested the hill and you're on your way back down.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a huge believer in mentors, and whether it's a coach, a mentor, a mastermind, like, you got to get help from people ahead of you.
So how did you go? I'm curious, just your journey from I mean, we have coaches, right? So I'm curious how your journey went from a coach to owner of the company. So
dude, yeah,
talk about how never go to mistakes.
Yeah, super weird. So I got into a Lifeonaire, and it's a combination of coaching and mastermind. And so over a few years, I had been pretty successful, and I got a kind of tap on the shoulder, like, hey, are you interested in sharing? Because also in the mastermind, you'll see people, it's very collaborative. So like in a mastermind, typically for people that aren't familiar with it, the way ours is organized is like you have people that are chiming in and giving you feedback and insights and like helping you through challenges that you don't see yourself. And so I kind of had a knack for this, I guess. And so I got the tap on the shoulder to be a coach because of my success. And then I did a good job with that. And the owner of the company at that time, he said, hey man, like you're doing really well. Would you consider like, are you interested in speaking and sharing this stuff on stages? And dude, that's a whole different story, man. I had some serious stage fright and like when it came to speaking. But over time, like I just developed a friendship, a real genuine friendship with the owner. We became partners at first for several years. And only recently he's like, hey, and by the way, I also took over as CEO of the company in 2016. And so he presented me with the opportunity to buy the company like not too long ago. And I did, but nothing really changed anyway because I was already running the company for quite some time anyway. But
So you're
but
still owner now.
yeah, yep.
Love it. Well, congrats. First, so when did that officially take place, that last transition?
Yeah, so that was last summer. So it's only been about a year now.
That's awesome. So I wrote down stage fright just because I want you to talk directly to, now put your coaching hat on for a second. You're talking to investors that come in. I mean, I have engineers that flock to us. I don't know if it's the numbers and the math or what, but they do. And but then they come in and they go, "Oh, Jesus, I'm scared the daylights of the phone." So how did you get through that? And how would you suggest they get through some of that fright? Like you talk about that.
Dude, first of all, let me say I 100,000% identify with that because like as a scientist, like I'm much more naturally analytical, numbers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I realized for me was that I was making it about myself. And I know this may sound corny, but like if you genuinely believe that you can help somebody,
Yeah.
and it's about helping them, like so for instance, if you had the cure for cancer and someone you loved was suffering from this and you could literally save their life, would you be like, "Oh man, I don't know if I should say something, I'm feeling," or would you be like, "No, listen, like you need this." And so I feel like making it about them is a huge perspective shift. But also say this, man. So 3 years ago, we sold the house I was living in. My family was growing. We needed a bigger place. And one of my buddies, his girlfriend at that time was an investor, and I sold the house to her because I didn't want to deal with, I had two girls who were like lunatics. We had crayons everywhere. It was a mess. And so like it was for the first time I realized what an incredible service we provide people, because I was at a place in my life where I didn't need the money. I wasn't stressed about top dollar. I just wanted convenience. I wanted the ease. And that was my first time on that side of a transaction because I'd always been the investor. But now I'm selling my house to an investor. And dude, it felt so good to have that person get me out of my situation that I just didn't want to deal with it. I don't want to fix it up. I don't want to list it. I don't want to have showings. And so I'll tell you, that was a huge, a very strong, reinforcer of like all the things that we tell ourselves, but it's actually true.
Okay. Who wants to be the next apprentice? Pretty interesting, guys. We started this apprentice program back as a July 4th, 2024 promo. That's where it started. And it was so incredibly effective. We were just going to run it for the summer. It was so effective immediately. We kept it. It's in place now. And what is it? It allows you to get into the community, the Wicked Smart community, for less dollars than the QLS home study course sells for right now on our site. In fact, when you go to smartrealestatecoach.com/apprentice-pod, apprentice-pod, when you go there, you're going to see that as an apprentice, you're going to get over $13,000 worth of coaching, the possibility for you to touch base with us if you want to 4 or 5 times a week. And it doesn't exist anywhere out there, frankly. That's why we did it. We did it for 2 reasons. One, no one is giving you the support out there. We keep hearing feedback, which is how this was born, that other educators are not giving support. They're just selling stuff. So it doesn't exist anywhere, and nowhere in the real estate education or coaching space. And we want to help you do one thing, deals. So we've wrapped the support mechanism around this. We've allowed you to get into a Slack community with the other associates who previously were protected in Slack. And now you get to jump in there and experience that for 12 weeks. You also get to come to the In the Trenches bootcamp, which is private. It's a chance to hang out with the family team and one of the coaches for 2.25 days in our conference room, roll up your sleeves, get calls done, get deals done. If you come with leads, you leave with deals. Absolutely incredible. I could go on and on. Go to the website right now. Check out more information about the apprentice. And I'm going to give you the In the Trenches bootcamp site because you don't have to become an apprentice. It just happens to be free with apprentice and associate. So 2 links I'm going to give you, super important. smartrealestatecoach.com/ITTB-pod. That's going to give you some information about the bootcamp. If you want to buy a ticket to the bootcamp, it's more expensive, but you can. Just to come check us out. About 1 or 2 people every time we run it do just that. Or become an apprentice, and it's for free. smartrealestatecoach.com/apprentice-pod.
Talk about, we hit like different segments as I heard you saying, but talk about the mistakes because you alluded to that a few times. And I mean, we all got them. I got hammered in the crash, and I'd love to hear like talk to them again, the Wicked Smart listener, and say, hey, here's kind of 3 big ones, and here's what I learned, that type of thing.
Yeah. So a few from me that really hurt me. One was excessive debt. And this isn't even, I can't even say it was smart enough to be like all investor debt, because some of it was really consumer debt as well. Where I had almost $90,000 of credit card debt at one point, which, and by the way, some of that was like me flipping houses on credit cards and thinking I'm smart until it wasn't. It sounds great when it works. But then it suddenly, when it doesn't, then it's not so good. The other thing, and so that was one thing. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around like what the belief that you need to take on significant amounts of debt to be successful in real estate, which is just not true. You know this, and like I know this, and so that's a limiting belief that people had. I had that belief. The other big one for me was really designing my business around myself. Like I was the linchpin in everything. And the second I stopped working, the business stopped working. So I think there's some real value in examining the possibility of creating systems, processes, using people, having some level of organization and structure to help your business to continue to run with you. And it's not even if you want to take time off for the vacations, but like, what if something happens to you? Yeah. Like the last thing you want to worry about is putting food on the table for your family when you get in a car wreck or something, right? And so that was another huge one for me. And I also fell for this like, I guess what I consider to be like the grind culture today, where it's like, hey, you gotta, 10x this and hustle, grind, and listen, that stuff for me, this is just my opinion. Yeah. It's very motivating. It gets my blood pumping. Like I'm like ready to go out there, like put me in, coach. But the problem is I've seen very few people over a long sustained period of time be able to maintain that without causing significant damage to their personal lives. And so, and listen, if that's your thing and you want to do that, then go for it. But like, I just, for me, the reason I got into business was to have a better life. And so I really need to have a picture of what that life is, but also like make sure I'm not compromising it because of this desire to like, get out there and just work.
Yeah, no, big time. So talk a little bit about your company. I want to kind of pause. I want to give that some space because I love it. And I want them to understand, because maybe I'd be surprised they had never heard of it, but talking about what you guys do, how they can reach you, anything you want to share about that. I think it's important.
Yeah, man. So the name of the company is called Lifeonaire, and the name kind of like conveys like the goal, like, right? So like a millionaire has a lot of life, a Lifeonaire, we want you to have a lot of life and ideally that the money too. So our whole approach is like, step one is create a vision for your ideal life. So if we agree that the purpose of your business, or the biggest purpose of your business, is to give you the life you want, you really need to know very tangibly what that looks like, not just some cloudy, ambiguous kind of, I want a better life. That's not going to help you. And then from there, the second thing we help people with is really focusing on the business. So most of now, by the way, anybody can be a Lifeonaire, but the people we resonate with most, likely for the same people that are listening or watching right now, like these are people that want to take their destiny into their own hands and want to have a control of their financial future and their security and all these other things. And so we help people with the business side of things to generate revenue. And by the way, most people in Lifeonaire have a hand in real estate, whether it's their primary business or a secondary business. And then we talk about also is like creating cash flow from the excess proceeds of your business. So buying assets, for instance. Now we encourage people to consider alternatives to just using debt, but to each their own. And so it's really kind of like, it starts with the vision, then we go to the business, and then we go to the cash flow that's on a recurring basis.
And what's the best ways for these guys to reach you, Jason, just so we don't forget that? I think it's important.
Yeah, man, you can hit me up at jasonwojo@lifeonaire.com. If you'd like to email me directly, that's my personal email. I'd be glad to share that. Or you can find me on social media as well.
Awesome. What other things should the Wicked Smart listener know? Because you've got real estate investors, you've got, unfortunately, real estate investors that have been pounded with marketing that tomorrow's the next get rich quick shiny object thingy, which I don't do, but they're out there. And so by the time sometimes I get them, they're brain dead and it must not work for me, but it's not the case. It's mismanaged expectations. So I guess from your standpoint, from Lifeonaire, talk to them a little bit about that entrepreneurial journey, because I don't know, it's a bummer when by the time I get them, they've been beat up 3 times by 3 crappy programs, right?
Dude, Chris, you're speaking my language, man. So here's what I'll see. There's 2 things. So, and I will say this: in the real estate investing industry, there do seem to be more than our fair share of like, I don't want to say like bad programs or bad. I don't believe that, but like, there's so many different options out there. Number one, that it's very, very confusing and overwhelming for somebody who's just getting into this to know where to turn to, because like, hey, oh, the notes sound cool. Oh, apartments sound cool. Oh, like, exactly. I mean, dude, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so you got to really find the people that have a track record. And we encourage people to really like to do their due diligence, and also like, take the time to vet these things. Don't get emotionally involved with these ridiculous claims that make it. Listen, I'll say this from my perspective, it's gonna take work. And so anybody that's promising you like, you're gonna be rich, you wake up tomorrow with, 32, and of course it's always a weird number. So it's like $32,969. Be very cautious with that. And the other thing I'll say here, and this is something to take stock of, is like, by nature of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, our natural kind of curiosity can lead us into what I'd call like the land of shiny objects, where like we want to try all these different things, and usually we try to do it simultaneously, and that is very difficult. Like, and you'd be better off just kind of really, pulling in that natural kind of like leaning, and really focusing to do a single thing well, versus many that you kind of don't do super well. And by the way, I'm talking to myself here because I did this.
Me too when I was younger. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I call it drilling wells. They just never hit water, and it's the real estate is rampant with that. So I think one of the biggest challenges, and I want to ask you with your clients, is it also with you, that mismanaged expectation, like expecting immediate results? Do you have the exact same thing, even though it's not the tangible real estate?
Yeah, man. So we are very, very careful with saying like, listen, like, you can join our membership program. You can do all this other stuff. Life will not magically be different on Monday. It's going to take you a period of time. I mean, honestly, our average retention in our program is 3.6 years until somebody has like, it's not overnight, but what I see is like the things that take time to build are the things that will also last sustainably. And like, so you're laying a foundation. Like none of us have the information, the tools, or the skills to be good at anything. Like, dude, it took it just takes time, and you've got to like resist that urge we live in a microwave society, but like success is a crock pot business, right? Yeah. Like you gotta, and so you got to just match those expectations up front. And make sure that, you really are in this for like, hey, and you're in this for the long haul, because it can make a like a lasting change in legacies and your family tree.
Yeah. I had Brian Tracy on my podcast during COVID, and I gave him my philosophy of it takes at least 3 years with blinders on, stay with one thing in real estate. I was talking real estate, and usually as a host, people agree with me. And he said, nope, it's 7 years minimum, and he went through, because he was 80 something years old. I think he's still doing well. I don't know. But he said the first few years, you're going to suck, and then you're going to be somewhat adequate. And then the last 2, you're going to, have your breakthrough. So what do you think of that?
Dude. So here's the problem though, is that once somebody like actually starts gaining fluency, they become bored. And then they try to start all over again. And now they're a newbie again. And so they sabotage themselves by not sticking with it long enough. Like, it's like, there's a joke in Lifeonaire. We say, yeah, it worked so good, we stopped doing it. Like, like, and so, dude, you're totally 100% right. Like, you've got to say, and here's the thing too, the more successful you become, the more opportunities come your way, because you start having more money, more resources. People are approaching you for deals. Like, hey, I got this opportunity. And like, it can become, so you got to be even more diligent to stay the path, the more successful you get.
I love it. I think I'll say publicly you and I will stay on here when we stop, but I want to make sure we get you engulfed in our community with some of the Wicked Smart sit downs and some of the other things, because there's a cool marriage here between not just philosophies with you and I, but what we're trying to accomplish with our communities. So it'd be pretty cool to meld that together. We'll do that together. I'll put all your contact information in the show notes for the Wicked Smart listener to have. Jason, what do you want to share that I didn't hit, John? Because I mean, I'm on a lot of shows like you, and I go, man, I should have said such and such, right? So anything you want to share, anything at all, I'm not good to.
Yeah, man. The biggest thing I'd say is like, listen, you truly, I've seen it so many times now that's beyond a shadow of doubt. You can absolutely have the life you want and the business you want at the same time. You do not have to sacrifice one for the other. Of course, there are busy seasons to life and business, but if you're constantly busy, you constantly run around with your hair on fire, you can never, get off the treadmill. Something's wrong. And you really got to just don't fall for that, for the belief, the lie that you have to like really just sacrifice everything in this pursuit of business success, because it's just not true.
Awesome. Jason, cool time spent together. I know we'll do some encore stuff together, and I really, really appreciate you jumping on. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, Wicked Smart listeners, that wraps up our episode with Jason today. Listen, if you got some cool nuggets out of that, please share it with someone else. Please rate and review us. It does help us tremendously. And I am pretty certain that you will affect many lives by introducing Lifeonaire to them. If nothing else, just share the podcast with them, and then make sure you mark your calendars for our Wicked Smart sit down every single Thursday at 4:00, because I would not be surprised if on one of the upcoming ones, Jason perhaps maybe was one of our guests, and he's probably going to join the ranks of those amazing guests. So until next week, guys, have an awesome, awesome week. Remember to think about, I would obsess over this balance of life and business. So you enjoy life. Life's too short. Make it a great week. We'll see you in next week's episode.
Hey guys, are you simply sick of juggling a dozen different software tools for your real estate business? I know I was, and I know I'm not a tech person, so it was frustrating. A subscription for this, you got a subscription for that, and they don't even work together out of the box. That's very frustrating, especially in the real estate world where your best time spent is going to be out in the field or on the phone with sellers. And now you're stuck hiring a tech guru just to make all that sync up. So let's ditch the chaos and let REI Black Book handle everything. Automate your lead follow-up, track every deal, analyze things quickly for you, make offers all on one platform. In fact, with the Wicked Smart platform, we now have access, if you're in the Wicked Smart community, to all the other associates' properties. Can you imagine that? So you're brand new in the business perhaps, and your seller looks on your website and sees 20, 30, 40 properties, instant credibility. So you're going to get everything on REI Black Book, from our custom workflows for lead generation all the way to closing. It has it covered. Try it today for just $1, guys. Visit smartrealestatecoach.com/REIBB-DD. smartrealestatecoach.com/REIB as in boy, B as in boy, hyphen, D as in dog, D as in dog.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you got value from today's episode, guys, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a future episode. It literally takes one nugget to access some of the things we're doing. And when you're talking the size rather of the paydays, it's an opportunity cost that you can't let go. So don't miss an episode. And for goodness sake, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you're ready to find your best path for getting started on your real estate investing journey in general, head over to smartrealestatecoach.com/get started. We're going to help you take the guesswork out of your next steps. See you in the next episode.